when you're a filmmaker, going on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, any of these places where you post comments, you're going to encounter some pretentious attitudes. I've been around filmmaking for nearly 10 years, maybe even 15. So I'm getting pretty old. And you're going to encounter these people who are very, very hostile to your filmmaking or your opinions based on just who you are, or maybe based on just your opinion. Maybe they're having a bad day. There's a whole host of things. And 99% of the time, these comments really don't get to the core. They don't really hurt you that much because they're just a comment. But there's one thing that I've heard countless times over and over, either to myself or I've seen to other kids, and I really want to address this because I think it can be very hurtful, and that is the claim of being a hobbyist filmmaker. Being a filmmaker who is only doing it for hobby or for being amateur. And I hear this claim a lot, and I think that, quite frankly, it's bullshit. And I'm going to break down in this video why I think it's bullshit and why I'm talking about this today. Today I received a comment from another filmmaker. This is someone I've been following for maybe about a month now. I've seen some negative interactions this person has had with other prominent indie filmmakers that I know of. And I quite frankly think that this person's attitude, the way that they treat other filmmakers, is very discouraging and sometimes disrespectful. This person made a video about essentially I would describe as discouraging indie filmmakers from making feature films. I'm not going to refer to that person by name, but essentially the video boils down to this filmmaker discouraging other filmmakers to not make feature films based on the fact that there is no money in indie filmmaking, that it's done, and that this person is quitting their feature film and no longer going to pursue it, and pretty much saying that you shouldn't pursue it, and the only way you would be pursuing it is as a hobbyist. This video got really under my skin for a couple of reasons that I'll go into in a little bit, but I let it go and I just kind of went about my day. And well, today I was on Reddit, I was commenting on a completely separate thread, and this same person came in and started a discussion. So I felt it was maybe the best time to tell this person that there are other avenues. Maybe we could try to find out how indie filmmakers can actually make a living. That was a big point of this person's contention, was that you can't make any money through Amazon or YouTube, and there's no way for indie filmmakers to make money. Well, I got into a very quick discussion, and I was just naming off a couple names and giving positive reasons why we might be feeling good about being indie filmmakers. And this person launched into a tirade and essentially called out my film, Chlorine, called out myself, my personal character, I would say in some ways, based on what she said about this film. And I think overall, it was pretty distasteful. And I think the comment ended with saying, essentially, you can be a hobbyist, but I want to be a real filmmaker. And that really fucking pissed me off. As a filmmaker who has been doing this for 15 years, and for the last, I'd say 6 or 7, has been doing it as a career. That's all I do. I don't go to a job. I'm a filmmaker. This really fucking pissed me off. And I just wanted to tell you guys that if people call you a hobbyist, you don't have to listen to them. I'm going to go through some points that I made today. Essentially why I think hobbyist filmmakers are saving the film industry and why it's important. So just give me a second and I'm going to give you a huge list of what I think needs to be talked about when it comes to hobbyist filmmakers. No one cares about a movie based on how much money it makes. No one cares if a movie made $100,000. No one cares if a movie lost $1 million. If it's a good movie, people will enjoy it. And so I think the idea that if you don't make money, you're a hobbyist, I think is kind of trite, because how many films have we seen that have made no money or were big box office flops become successful films down the line? I mean, look at the Criterion Collection. The Criterion Collection is films that have all been forgotten by time, but are truly great films, and they restore them. When you go on the Criterion channel, there are films that people literally have barely watched in 50 years. They're films that no one has watched, that they put on there because they're important films. They didn't make any money in their time, but they're important films because they keep the tradition of filmmaking alive. And that's what hobbyism is doing for filmmaking right now. That's why it's saving the industry. Because right now, Hollywood is dead. Because of coronavirus, because of everything that's going on in the world, no one can make films. The big studios can't make films. Oh no, what's going to happen? They can't make films because there's no way to make films in the system that Hollywood has created. And that system is broken. So who's going to keep the tradition of filmmaking going? It's not indie filmmakers. It's not Hollywood. It's the hobbyists. It's the guys like me, like Joel Haver, like Cody Clark, like Rob Hagans, like every one of the people that I interact with on Twitter, all my friends, everyone who makes films. You are a hobbyist. That is what everyone is saying to you. The industry is saying to you. You're a hobbyist. And you know what? You're saving the industry right now. Because you're going out there, you're making, Joel Haver made Pretend That You Love Me. Cody Clark is making Attack of the Blurry Giant Finger, or the Giant Blurry Finger. I'm making Sheep Theater. Everyone is making a film right now. We're keeping the tradition of filmmaking, the pure concept of filmmaking alive. If there wasn't indie filmmakers, or as I call them, true indies, there would be no one making movies right now. And that art form could be completely dead. So when anyone says that hobbyists are not important, or they're not true filmmakers, I laugh, because there's so many hobbyists. John Cassavetes probably would be considered a hobbyist because most of his films didn't make money during his lifetime. They didn't have success until afterwards. There are a lot of filmmakers that are hobbyists, and I think that hobbyists, that mentality, is something that we need to bring forward. Like, nowadays, you can be a plumber and go and make films on the side. You don't have to go and move to Hollywood. You don't have to go and literally get down and I'm going to, pardon my French, suck someone's dick for Hollywood. You know, look at Weinstein and all these guys. Why do you think there's all these creepy guys in Hollywood, these powerful men? Because you know what? They use their power to get people to want to direct movies or want to act in movies, and they abuse them. They abuse them. And this system, the way hobbyists work, we don't abuse people. We take people and we try to make their dreams come true. We try to make movies that are going to make people want to live, want to laugh, want to cry, whatever. That's what we do. We make these films and we make them for you, the audience. And if you hate them, that is totally fine. And if you love them, that is great too. One of the best films I've ever seen was Joel Haver's Island. When I watched that film, I cried. I cried at the end of the film, and I know Joel's watching right now. The movie made me, it broke me. Because it told me something that I don't need to be Hollywood. I don't need to go out there. I don't need to talk to some guy. I don't need to move halfway across the world to be a filmmaker. I can be a filmmaker right here, right in my heart. And if that film can inspire me to do that, then what can I do? Or what could you do? We can do anything we want. I'm a filmmaker. And whether or not I make money, whether or not I ever see a dime of success, I will always be there. I will always be making feature films to the day I die. What about you? When I was 13, I remember this like it happened yesterday. I remember talking to my mom. And my mom was asking me, like, sort of what I wanted to do. Like, what would be my ultimate dream? And I always said I wanted to be George Lucas. That was my dream when I was a kid. And I remember this one time. I said, to her that I just want to inspire one person to make a good movie, one person to make a movie. And if I can do that, if this channel can inspire one person here, any one of you, to do something, I've succeeded. And that's all that matters to me. I don't care about the money. And I think if you care about the money, you should go and do something else, because filmmaking is a hobbyist medium. Maybe that's what it is. I think that filmmaking is about the love, it's about the sleepless nights working on a project when you have no hope that it's never going to succeed. When I made Chlorine, I thought I was going to get 500 people to see it. Maybe my friends and family, and that was it. But you know what? Austin McConnell came and he called me, and I got 100,000 views on an interview and 30,000 views on the film. You know why? Because that's pure determination and pure will. And I know you can do it too. So I'm going to say, please like, subscribe, check out my channel. And I'm going to be putting out content that is more inspiring than I've ever done before. And we are going to crawl out of what people call the hobbyist movement. And we are going to become the next wave of professional filmmakers. Have a good night.